Hi everyone. Let me see. It looks like everything looks good. Welcome. Okay. Let me see. Hello. It looks like everything is good. Well, hello. Welcome. Angelica Turner here with Elizabeth Craft Designs. Hello, Sandra, Rebecca. Hello, Doris. Hello. How's everyone doing this fine day? It's fine start to the week. Hello, Rebecca, Doris, Sandra, Robin. Hello, 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 Debbie. Hi. Welcome to my studio. That looks like, hi, Anita. Hi, Eivor from Sweden. Hello, I hope I pronounce your name correctly. Petri, Karen, Ellie, Andrea, Vicky, hello. So welcome. Um, Again, this is Angelica Turner with Elizabeth Craft Designs, and today I'm going to be playing with some florals, of course. My favorite thing to play with. And I'm going to be making a decorative card with one of my decorative dies. For this one, I cut everything out of pattern paper. All my florals are cut out of pattern paper, my leaves. So we are going to have some creative fun. Before I forget, the winner of the gift certificate for last week is Carol Lewis. Carol Lewis, please get in touch with Elizabeth Craft Designs to get your $50 gift certificate. And as you know, don't forget to comment, share, and like our post so you can be entered in the next $50 gift certificate. Hi Petra, hi Becky, hello. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and switch my camera here for just my table. There we go. Okay, so as I was saying, yes, Vicky, thank you. Yes, congratulations to Carol Lewis. She is the winner of the $50 gift certificate for last week. So get in touch and please comment, like, and share for a chance to win the $50 gift certificate for this week. Let's see where I am. I'm trying to see if I'm not uh, missing some of your comments here. Linda, hello, love oil florals. Thank you, Linda. Thank you for commenting, sharing, and liking. Petra, yes, congratulations to Carol, Petra. Um, yes, thank you for commenting, liking, and sharing. Hi, Debbie. Okay, so for this particular one, all the paper that I am using is the Garden Party collection. And as you can see, I have used some different shades of green here from the pattern paper. So like there's a light one, there's a darker one here. There's one that has more of a yellow tint in it. So when I was cutting it, I kind of kept in mind that I wanted some different shades for all my greenery. So I went ahead and did that. Cut all the different, where all my, um, there we go. I keep losing your guys' comments. So I went ahead and cut all the greenery here in different shades of gray. And I'm going to do a little bit of coloring to them as well, just to give them, bring them to life a little bit better. For the flowers, I used the pink as well from the pattern paper. So there's a color background here that has pink, and I like cutting things out of pattern paper because you get a lot of the uh, patterns or different color variations on the paper. So I like to have, I like what that adds to my final floral. And then I cut some blue ones and the flower centers or the little stamen I did cut from a pale yellow cardstock. And so for the florals, let me get the dies that I'm using. So this small die, this tiny one right here in blue, also from the pattern paper, I cut from the 2215 Tulip, and I did the little tiny ones, this set right here. So those are the ones that I did. This pink one is the 2216, the cornflower, and I cut, let's see, two of the large set, two of this medium size, one of the medium size and one of the slightly smaller one. So these two sizes right here. So I have a total of four of those. And then I cut these four different leafy branches from the 2217 floral greenery tree. So I cut those for my base of my card or for my card itself. I use the 2219 decorative oval frame. And I'm doing that as a shape card, so I'll go through all the layers that I did for this to get my final card base. So I'm going to go ahead and move some of these out of the way here, so I can start coloring the flower. Just going to put my little color mat here to get my color. And for this particular uh, project, I'm using all the stress oxides. Hi, Anya. Oh, nice pastel colors. Yes, I love the um I'm in that mood right now of doing pastels, uh for all the spring colors. Hi, Lisanne. So I kind of this one went all pastels in as well because they kind of coordinate with the colors of the paper. Hi, Susanna, and hello, welcome. Andrea, hello. Wilma, hi. Okay. Hi, David. How are you doing? Okay, so to start with, and you can see the backs have, that the backside pattern on that paper. So I'm going to use the Victorian Velvet Distress Oxide, and I'm just doing a blending brush. And for this ones, I already kind of colored these so you can see the difference between um, the petals that I already colored versus the one that is just cut from paper and not colored yet. So I'm going to put the color in from the tip of the petal and just kind of blend it in about halfway. And you can see here, that's a lot of color on this one. I didn't tap enough of the color on my brush on the mat, so it ended up with a lot of color. So I'm just picking it up, tapping it on the mat, and then kind of bringing it in from the tip of the petal and shading it or fading it into about halfway. And I'm doing that to every petal. So, and again, you don't have to be um, precise on every single one of them. They are petals, they are flowers, so each one is different. So you can see that's the color on that. And let's add some more color, some color to this one. Same thing, just kind of adding the color to the tip of the petal is where I want my darkest, and then shading it or fading it halfway down into the center of that petal. Okay. So there are here's all our colored flowers. And you can see, I mean, you still see all the pattern and the colors from the paper, but the touch of extra coloring just adds that extra special touch to your flower. I'm going to add a little bit more color to this one. Hi, Anna. How you doing? Catherine, hello, welcome. Listen, thank you. Yes, colors, colors. I love these colors together. Okay, so now for the centers, or for the little flower centers here that I cut. So I cut, let's see, I think I did 2 of each size of the flower centers. Let me double check how are the plates on this one. Nope, that's the wrong die. So I did actually these ones right here. So 2 of each of this set right here, which is our largest set. Yeah. So this set right here, this one's slightly smaller. So 2 of each of these. I cut these ones out of cardstock, out of just a pill yellow cardstock, and I'm going to add a little bit of color to these ones. Again, the stress oxide, I'm doing the wild honey. Again, a little bit of color on my blending brush. And as you can see, I already colored these 3. I'm concentrating my color on the center. And I'm going to do it on the back side as well. And I'm just tapping it in the center and just kind of blending it towards the tip of each little point. So you have something like that, front and back. So these ones are all colored on the front. I'm just going to add the color on the back. You can see that. And I'm just blending the color on the back of that center. Okay, like that. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the rest, the other 3. Making sure I move my brush out of, and this one's ended up a little bit darker than the other ones, but that's okay. They are going to be all layered together. So that is perfectly fine if you have darker and lighter ones. Again, you know, not every single layer has to be exactly the same. If you look at flowers, they all have individual, you know, each petal is actually completely different than the other one. And then I'm going to turn this over so I can do the back as well. Hey, Saskia. Okay, same thing with the smaller ones. Just kind of concentrate the color on the center and then fade it to each point. Okay, so that is the flower centers there. Put these colors over here out of the way. Let me clean this because next colors are all going to be all green. And I don't want to get some of that pink on the other pieces. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and let's go ahead and shape all the flowers. That way we can let them set aside once they are shaped while I do the all the leaves. Ah, it looks like I lost where's my comments here? through. Okay, so now for the florals. So this one's, I'm going to go ahead and turn them upside down first and go through each of the little petal tips. And I'm using a medium size tip on my stylus. Now with the pattern paper, it depends. Sometimes it's a little drier, I guess, depending on the season or time of the year. And sometimes you see it crack a little bit just because of the dry weather. So I'm not putting a lot of pressure on this one just because I don't want it to crack right now. So let's see how this looks. Okay, yeah, that looks good. Then I'm going to flip it over to the front and I'm going to do a line, same tip from the center all the way down. So from about 3/4 of the tip of the petal and then all the way to the center. See how it curls? So you end up with something like this. And once we layer them all together, that flower is going to flatten a little bit. Well, thank you so much for liking, commenting, and sharing. And I know for those of you, you have seen, I'm pretty sure you have seen the um, previews from David's new collection, Mr. and Mrs. He will be here live on Wednesday doing the launch of his collection. So make sure you don't miss that one. I'm sure he's going to have lots of samples and some demos, and of course, all the beautiful samples from the design team as well. So make sure to join him on Wednesday. Okay, again, I'm doing the same process on this one. Back of the petals and then the front. So you end up like this. Now, this doesn't bother me at all that it ended up really shaped. I actually like having my flowers with extra, giving them extra dimension when I'm shaping them, because as I work with them and putting them together and assembling them, and then of course making the card, you know, with all the handling and layering, you are going to kind of flatten your floral a little bit. So I kind of find myself always giving them giving the florals extra dimension, and then by the time I'm done making the project, they don't lose so much shape that they end up completely flat on my project. So that's one of the things I always kind of keep in mind, that they will lose a lot of shape and handling and layering and gluing. So they always have a lot more dimension while I'm making them. I'm going to switch to a smaller tip with this one right here, just because it's a little bit smaller. Oh, thank you, Andrea. Hi, Anita. You can join in. You can, you know, set up your table on your side and we can craft together. Hi, Heidi. Thank you for sharing, commenting, and liking. Okay, same thing I am doing on this side, going over the back of the petal and then doing one run on the front. Okay, so I have my 4 layers here, and now I am going to do the centers. I'm going to just switch to another bigger one. And this one's, I'm just going to kind of sit the in the center. I'm just pushing really hard in the center of each one, kind of giving them that, so all the little points just kind of stand straight up. Let me switch to a smaller one here. The smaller, the more pressure I can put in that center, and the more they will stand up. Okay, so here are my little centers. Let's see. So let's go ahead and put this one together real quick. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue right in the center, and I'm going to offset my layers like that. Okay, the next layer, which is my next my smaller size here. Same thing, offsetting the petals. Hi, Kathy. It is such a fun flower to work with, and you can make so many different looking flowers just by the way you shape it or the way you color it. And then my smallest one, again, making sure I offset it. Okay, so we have that. Now here you can kind of flatten your layers a little bit more. And then if we wanted to give it a little bit more of a pop, we can always just press in the center and make those pop. And now let's go ahead and glue the flower centers. Hey, Carol Lewis. No apologies necessary. That you're so funny. Carol Lewis. Oh, I think you are the Carol Lewis winner of the $50 gift certificate. Congratulations. Okay, so now let's glue the center here. Okay, so I lost one on the floor. Let me see if I can find it real quick. There's always a chance of something just bouncing off your table and getting lost somewhere on the floor. Um, okay, so let's see. I have two of each size. I'm going to just kind of stack the two largest sizes here. And I'm doing the same thing I was doing with the petals or with the layers of the petals by offsetting my my flower centers here. So the same thing with this one. And I'm just going to continue to offset each one. And the next one. So these ones are always fun to work. The more you put, the more centers, the fuller, and the fuller you get them. Next one, and we have one more. Okay, and there we go. So this is the last one. and it's not sticking down. There we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my mat over here and take a smaller tip and just kind of push it all down. And you have something like that. And of course, these petals are going to be kind of flatter. Hi, Annette. Hi, Anna. No worries. There's always that replay to catch up later. And one thing I wanted to do with this flower, let me see if I have them here. I wanted to add extra little stamen. I have these kind of glittery, kind of rock candy stamen I have in my stash, and I wanted to add those into the center of this flower, so to add a little bit of a different, like a little sparkle to it. So I'm just going to kind of try to pierce the center here. I need a different kind of mat for that. Give me a second. Sorry, I didn't have it ready. There we go. So I'm going to pierce a hole through this flower so I can run that is a lot of layers. There we go. So I can run the stamen through the center. Now let's see if I can get it off without ruining it. Okay, let me fix some of these right here. Okay, now for these ones, they have this little kind of thread that connects both sides. So I am going to see if I can run them through with I'm just wrapping these around a piece of wire so I can basically thread them through the center of my flower here. Looks like I lost you guys'. There we go. For some reason, I don't know why my iPad keeps like pausing the live and then I lose your comments. So I have to keep like reminding it, hey, I'm watching it. And I need this a little bit bigger. Let me see. I need different. There we go. Let me see if I can make it a little bit bigger without destroying my flower. And you can see how all of this handling to get the little centers in there is kind of flatten my petals. So there we go. Let's see how this looks now. Okay. So I think that's, so you have your little sparkly centers or stamens, and then your cardstock stamens, and then all your flower petals right there. So that is for that flower. Now for the rest, for these ones, these little blue ones are the smallest flower of the tulip. These ones are a much easier shaping. I'm just going to place them, and again, they're pattern paper, so you can see the pattern on the back. This is like a pale blue. from the garden party collection. So I'm just going to place these ones face down, and I'm going to take a smaller tip of the stylus. Oh, thank you, Astrid. And I'm just going to place from the tip, and I'm putting a bit of pressure on this one because I want those tips of the petal to really curl in. And then after I do that, I'm going to place it, turn it around, and then do the center. And we end up with something. Let me, so you can see it better. There we go. Something like that. So I'm going to do that technique to all these little flowers. Again, just place doing the back of the petals and then the front with the smaller tip. Hey Tracy, thank you for joining today. And then so again, a little bit on the back of each flower, and then the front is straight in the center just to help those petals pop up. And one more of that. Okay, and then, so here are all our little flowers. And again, those are the smallest size of the tulips. Okay, so now for all of these greenery, let me bend this over here. So when it comes to gluing that, I'm going to have to use hot glue to glue this flower because of all of these right here. So I'm going to, oh, I missed one little small tulip. So let's shape that one real quick. There's always a little piece hiding somewhere on my table. Carol, yeah. You know what? I saw everyone getting those these the sweet petunia glue thing, and everyone was using them, and I thought about it and thought about it, and I finally got it, and makes it so much easy because it keeps that tip, that fine tip from clogging, and I just love that. Okay, so for all of these little branches, how are we doing on time? Oh, half hour through already. Okay, so as you can see, I cut them all from different shades of the green, but I'm also adding some extra color to them. So let's go ahead and start with this one. This is the original color. And after I did a little bit of coloring to it, I wanted them a little bit darker because of the layering. I want each one of them to have a bit of a distinct shading. So for this ones, I'm using the pine needles, the stress oxide, and I'm just grabbing some color. Again, I tap it on the mat because I want to shade it in. I don't want to end up with this giant blob of solid color. So, and as you can see, this particular ink pad is fresh. So the brush picks up a lot of color. So I'm just kind of dabbing some color. Most of my color I'm dabbing is on these little kind of tips of the branch. And then I'm just going to fade that towards the center of the branch. Okay, so, and here's the tree that I cut and colored. So you can still see a lot of the uh, pattern and design from the paper, but I just wanted to make them a little bit darker compared to any of the other branches. So that one is that. For this particular one, here are two of them already colored, and here is the one that I haven't colored. For that one, I am going to put on some crushed olive, distress oxide, and again, just adding a touch here and there. And you can see a little bit of that color in the pattern of the paper already. So I wanted to kind of pull that color out a little bit more on the leaf, again, to give it a little bit more contrast with the other ones, with the colors on the other leaves. So I'm just kind of tapping color a little bit here and there, and voila. So you have a little bit of a different, a warmer color on that one. Uh, Now this one's right here. Oh, I have another one right here. So for this ones, I have, here we go. I'm using, this one is the Rustic Wilderness. So I'm going to use a little bit of Rustic Wilderness on that one. Let's see if I have a brush. Yeah, there we go. This one is not as dark. It's a little bit, it's got a warmer color than the what is the other one? The pine needles. In this one, I am actually going from the little branch right here and at the base of each leaf, um, so I can have a lighter tip on each leaf. So again, just kind of putting my color at the base and then just blending it off each leaf. So you end up with a darker base and then lighter tip, and just kind of blend in a little bit. And so that is this little branch right here. So you have that. So those are done. And then this one's kind of like the way they are, just the very pale color. So I am going to actually leave those ones like that. They have a really good contrast with the other colors. Let me get this out of the way real quick. So I think that gives me a good contrast between this one's with a yellow, this one's darker, and then of course this one is a much lighter one. I'm going to add just a bit of shaping to some of these ones. I'm going to go on the back on each one of these leaves. And as you can see, I'm using a slightly larger tip, and I'm just pulling from the edges to the center, and then I'm going to switch to a smaller one and just kind of run this through the center. You can see the embossing line from the die right here. I'm just taking my tool and kind of running it through the center. And you have some dimension, not completely flat, and it doesn't take very long to do, to give them dimension. Again, just on the back side. Yes, I just, when I cut all the pieces, of the raven, when I cut all the pieces from the paper, I liked the colors, but I felt like it needed a little bit more contrast between each type of leaf. So that's why I ended up having to add a little bit of coloring, and it just makes things a little bit nicer when I add a little bit of a touch of uh, extra coloring, just to bring them, give them a little bit more life. So here are those. Um, this one's right here. It's large tip as well. Very quick, just a little touch. And again, I'm pulling it from the tip of the leaf towards the branch. And then I'm going to come back with a smaller one and just kind of touch down the center on the branch itself. Um, Again, not a lot of dimension, not a lot of precision, a lot of pressure, just slightly going over them so they are not completely flat on my project. Okay. And then, okay, so this is the last one of this set. I think this is the first time I wasn't exactly sure what I was going to do with the whole thing. So as you can see, I didn't shape a lot of uh, these pieces ahead of time. Okay, so this one, again, they're big, round, kind of little leaves. So I'm just going to take each one and just kind of do a circular pass, just kind of to bring that kind of feel that they are kind of round and shaped. So again, it doesn't take very long. Just going over each one with the larger tip, larger stylus tip, and just kind of going over each one in a round, in a circular motion. Hi, Diana. Hi, Diane. Oh, how are you doing? So here's the last piece. Again, just in a circular motion. And there we go. So those, again, I didn't color them. And you can see all the design and the difference, a little bit of different shades in there from the paper. So those are, and then this ones I'm not going to do any shaping to them. I like them just like that. So I am going to leave those alone. Let me get these out of the way. Okay, so let me get these little flowers over here. Okay, so for the base of my card, okay, as you can see, I have a bunch of different layers here. So I wanted to make it a shaped card. So I um, start with this die right here, which is your solid piece. I take a piece of white cardstock, fold it in half, and then in order to make sure that we have this fold right here, you want to place your die off the edge of that fold right here. So when you cut it, it's only going to cut this section right here, but not this section right here. See how it's hanging off the edge? So you have this solid piece right here. So I have one piece of those. Then I got another full piece right here. This is going to be glued right here on top of this. So you cut one of those, and I did use the center to cut the center out. Same thing with this one right here. I cut my center out because I want to have that opening on this one. So that's that piece. Then I have another piece cut with these two of pattern paper that is going to go on top of that white paper. And then I have these two pieces to cut the decorative piece right here out of white cardstock that will go on top. Then I have this piece of pattern paper that will go on the inside right here. Again, making sure that when I cut it, I cut this one, the whole piece, and then I came back in and measured just how much I needed to trim off right here, uh, making sure I align my edge over here, and then I trim off that edge so that I can close it and you can see that pretty floral design on the inside. And then I went ahead and cut, using these two pieces, I cut this decorative piece out of the same green paper from this piece right here. So all of this again is from the Garden Party paper collection. Let me get this out of the way real quick so I can start layering all of these pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this center one in. I actually need to add a little bit of um, inking around the edges on this one. Let me see, did I have another color for this? No, this is the color. Okay, just to get rid of the white core. And I already did it on all of those pieces. So I'm just going to ink these edges right here. Oh, thank you, Annette. Missy, thank you for liking, commenting, and sharing. Yes, so this, Belinda, this is a 5x7. So this will fit a 5x7 envelope, a 5x7, a little card box. Yes, so these frames are, so your finished size from top to bottom and across is 5x7. Okay, let's get this out of the way and let's start kind of layering all of these pieces. Oh, you're very welcome. I when I design these dies, I try to keep in mind, what size envelopes are out there and what is the most the sizes that are most used or more popular, so that we don't have problems finding an envelope or finding like I mail most of my cards that have a lot of dimension. End up having to mail them in boxes. So yeah, it helps when we have the right size. So there is that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to close my card right there, and this piece is going to sit on the inside right here. So I want to make sure I have this closed, so I can line it up to the opening. I'm just putting some glue on the edge right here. I'm going to put a little bit of glue right here on the center too. And I don't know if you guys had a chance to watch Liz do her live last week, but she used this die as well in different ways. So you have so many different options uh, and to use this die and create different projects. So as you can see, I'm just using the the frame right here, the opening, to layer or to glue this piece inside and making sure that it is aligned to that opening right there, like that. So you have the decorative pattern, the floral pattern in the background, and then you have the green decorative piece. So it looks almost like stained glass because you have the pretty design in the background, and then you have the decorative piece. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and put this piece that is going to cover this straight edge right here that doesn't look right. But now with this piece on, it will cover that and it will look like a full uh, complete die. Just trying to make sure I get the adhesive to the edge. And this one right here went a little bit too close to the edge. Okay, and now let's place this one, making sure I line up all my edges. And I think I might be just a teeny bit off in the center, just because I had to cut one and then the other. So make sometimes matching those cuts are, yeah, you can see a little bit right there where it's a teeny bit off. Okay, so that is that piece, and then we have our uh, pattern paper that goes on top of that. Oh, thank you so much, Penny. I do have a lot of fun creating these and then playing with them, of course. Now, one thing I meant to do and I didn't do it was stamp a sentiment, but I'm going to just leave it without sentiment for now. And later on, once I know what I'm using it for, it can be a Mother's Day card, birthday card, anniversary card. So I will stamp and add a sentiment to it. Okay, so this is what I was talking about. Sometimes when I'm doing that many layers, see how this little white edge right here, I was a teeny bit off when I cut that center panel right here from the other on all three layers. So let me see. I think I'm going to do a little bit of this uh, bundle sage distress oxide, and I'm going to just kind of ink that, just kind of make sure that I get rid of that white edge right there. And then we're going to put all the florals there so it will get, okay, that looks a lot better because I did not like that sharp white edge. And it will probably have gotten covered because we still need this frame to go on top of that. So, how's everyone doing? I haven't lost you guys. Yep, exactly, Carol. A just because card. So, I mean, so most of the time I find myself, especially when I'm doing projects like this for lives or tutorials or something like that, that I leave the sentiment off and then I later on I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to use it for this. And then I put a sentiment on them. Unless I know ahead of time exactly what I'm going to be using it for later. then I'll have a sentiment ready as well. Okay, I'm just putting little dots of glue here and there on the edges of this frame, so it's secured nicely to the base of the card. Okay, so now this one, I'm going to shift it there. So I'm going to center it, align it to the oval opening in the center. I'm making sure this step right here aligns to the center right there of this step. And then same thing at the bottom. That way it is. Okay, so here you go. Decorative, and then you open it, and then you have this pretty design here. Okay, and now let's see, what are we going to do? How am I doing in time? 11:56. Oh my goodness. Almost there, almost there, almost there. Wow, that does really goes really quick. Okay, so I got all of these different leaves that I wanna kind of layer in different, and you can see here you have the different colors popping. So let's see, where am I going to place my flower? I think it's the biggest thing. Where is my floral going to go so I can have a better idea of where all these little layers are going to be placed. And of course we have this one. Okay, so I think there we go. That gives me a little bit of an idea of where I'm placing things. So let's start with this because it's a fairly big branch. And I kind of wanted to go over here, and I put glue on this one. Uh, like that. And as you can see, one thing I need to make sure, let me get a piece of like scrap paper. So because I want this open, I want to make sure I don't glue any of these leaves on the inside. So I'm just going to place a piece of scrap paper there. So I don't close my card by mistake while I'm gluing all of these pieces. Okay, here's another one. I'm just going to tuck it in right here, layered with this one. Again, I'm making sure that all my gluing is on the actual frame right here. Uh, there we go. Thank you, Robin. Oh, okay, and this one, see, oops. Okay, I think I'm going to place that one right there. And then we have these ones right here. I have more of each one. Okay, so I'm going to place that one on top. And then I can go ahead and glue the flower. But it needs some stuff coming this way as well. Just kind of, there we go. as well to the bottom. This one I'm going to go ahead and trim this because it's a little bit too long, but they're still all together. Again, I'm making sure not to put too much glue on the leaves themselves, just because I want to make sure they don't glue to that background. Okay, we got this one. Again, I'm going to trim this little piece. Kind of shift it a little bit there. Then I think I'm going to go ahead and glue the flower and then finish off. Now for the flower, like I said, because it has these the little ends of the stamen, I'm just going to do it with hot glue and put it in place just to make sure that it does get glued, because I know with the liquid glue it's going to be kind of having to sit there and hold it for a while. I'm just pressing it in. Okay, so now we have this one needs some more of these. So these ones I am going to separate this one, just kind of so I have a little bit more freedom of how I want to place it. So you can always cut those little branches into sections if you feel like the whole branch does not fit your project in the right place. And then this one I am also going to cut into sections. A little bit of glue and then just stuck it in underneath your flower, in between your other branches here. Okay, let's see. So, see what I mean about there was a little bit of glue there. So we got that so far. And now I want to go ahead and let's see. I feel like this one could use a little bit of more of these over here. Too long. There we go. Let me just fix this so it looks more like it belongs there. So it doesn't look like something was trimmed off it. Just kind of fix it with my scissors and then tuck it in back here like that. Now I need to place some of these smaller little flowers. And these ones I'm just going to place here and there like little flower fillers. So it looks like there's a little bit more than just the big pink flower. Again, I'm just putting a little bit of glue on the center of each flower and gluing them down on top of all those little branches. it doesn't want to stay down. Here we go. Okay, and one of the things I had thought about doing is I wanted to have some of those greeneries on this panel as well. So they are coming from the, so you can see them in the back. So when you open it, you still have, you have some of them here. But I'm not sure if that is going to work because I already glued all of this stuff. So let me see how this will look. Almost done. It's kind of going to make it hard for it to close there. Actually, I kind of like it. I like the fact that you can open it and there's some more leaves on the inside. So let me see if I can place them where they're not into that. Okay, make sure I don't trash the front. So I am going to, again, a little bit of glue on each leaf. And as I place them, I gotta make sure that these leaves don't get past the fold right here. So I'm just gluing them down in place. Oh, thank you, Petra. Okay, so that's that one. Then I'll place that one, and I'm trying to keep them to follow the edge right here of the frame. Again, making sure as I glue it, these leaves don't go past the fold. And then this will be my top one for the top piece. And this one, because it's a little bit thinner, I can actually manipulate so it kind of bends over a little bit towards the inside of the frame. So let's see how I can get this like that. And then glue it. So again, making sure. There we go. So how does that look? So we got our layers, and then you open it and you have more over here. And I'm just going to go ahead and do some of this one as well. Because it needs that extra little pop. Again, I'm just kind of making sure this doesn't look like something was missing there. And tucking that one right there. That. Okay. How are we doing? Okay, so I think this completes it. Thank you so much, Luis. So here we go. Got all our greeneries, our flowers, our little mini tulips, shaped completely different. And then you go ahead, open it, and then you have a little bit more decorative greenery on the inside. So here is our completed project. Let me switch this over real quick. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today. Hope you guys enjoyed my little make. If you make something inspired by this, please share it on our Facebook page, Facebook family page. We'll love to see your creations inspired by this make. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Diane, thank you. Thank you for joining. Have a great week, everyone. Thanks, and until next time. Bye.